So today I'm going to be going through, ooh, they're falling. Ah. So today I'm going to be going through my fall/winter TBR and also my most recent Barnes & Noble hauls. So I'm a Barnes & Noble girl. I have been for a while. I used to be a Borders girl when I was really young, but obviously Borders closed. So I got into Barnes & Noble. I literally have a membership. I go actively. I go at least 2 times a month. Just looking at new books, and especially with Book Talk has gotten me fully. I will be on there all the time finding new books, new authors, and most authors that I've found in my most recent journey of books has been through Book Talk and just different types of books, and then also just being in Barnes & Noble in general, just seeing different books, authors, reading the back of the books, getting into those. And I've also been it's really been great with a lot of family and friends have gifted me books or book subscriptions, and I found a couple different authors, so that's what we're gonna get into. Let's get into it. So the first thing is this book by J.D. Robb. I love this author. So the reason I found out about her was because my best friend got me a book subscription box for my birthday this year, and the first book in this series, which is called, we're checking right here, Naked in Death, I got in that book box subscription, and it is the first book I've read of that series, and I dove head deep into it. So basically the series is if you put Olivia Benson from SVU into the future, and so most of the characters were actually born in this year 2023, and so this is in the future, and basically putting SVU into the future with all of the technology, the advances, but also at the same time similar crimes that we still see being committed then, just in more technologically advanced ways. And so this is the 5th book in the series, and I'm just super excited to get into it, read more. There are, I honestly think, almost 50 books in the series. And so also one of the wild things is these books were written in like the 90s, and so the fact that she foreshadowed so much and did so much with it is so awesome. So we are excited to read this one. And Barnes & Noble has most of the books in this series. The only thing I don't enjoy is the fact that the first book that I got was like a larger form size book, like kind of like this size, but most of them are this size, so they are different sizes. And there's a lot of books to buy of different sizes. So that's my only bad side of it. And so the next book we have is The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. I've heard so much about this book and the author, and I want to get into it. I am a horror movie girly through and through. I love me a good final girl. Obviously the best will always be Jamie Lee Curtis. So the fact of them putting a bunch of different ones into this book series and basically them kind of hunting them down, which is cool to know, and women in horror, I love. The next is called The Castle School for Troubled Girls. I mostly got it because it was part of these books, which we will be taking the sticker off, of the buy one get one 50% off. I've been eyeing it for a while. I haven't read anything by this author before, so it's written by Alyssa Scheinmel, and I do love a book about an all-girls boarding school where things happen at the boarding school. So I originally read a book by one of my favorite authors, Simone St. James, called Broken Girls, and it was based in an all-girls boarding school that they were sent to, and a lot of different things happened. And we'll get into Simone St. James in a minute. And ever since then, I've really enjoyed reading books that are really based similar to that. So I'm excited to read this and kind of use it as a breakup between a lot of the romance books that I read, which we'll get into because there are a lot. And speak of the devil, Simone St. James, arguably one of my top 2 favorite authors of all time. I love this woman, love all of her books, love everything that she creates. She is, I don't even know all the words to describe her. She writes books for the girls that don't like men, and I'm one of those girls, not the biggest fan of men as a species. I like the men that I like, but as a species, no. And so she writes books for those girlies because every one of her books, at the center of the problem is a man, but those men always get their get, and they always get got. And that is what is most important, is we're always making sure those men get caught up for what they did. So I'm gonna drink. get passionate talking about Simone St. James. And the cool thing about her is none of her books are, at least that I've read, are a series, which is really cool because she finishes the entire story in the book. So you are not left with any cliffhangers. You're not left with any questions, anything. There are, a lot of times there will be discussion questions at the end of the book. Let me see if this one has any. So I don't think this one does, but a couple of her books, especially the ones that really make you think, and they are written in 2 different POVs, or in 2 different timelines, will have discussion questions at the end. And so it's really cool to just read them and get your entire story put into one, especially reading a lot of romance books where they are a series. They might be standalone, but they're a series. You still are reading the other books to get questions answered versus her books where you get everything in one book. So I think this is my 5th or 6th book that I've read by Simone St. James in the last 2 years. I had to ask Barnes & Noble to order it because they didn't have any more Simone St. James books, and I was like, I need them all. So, Simone St. James, if you're somehow hearing this, I love you. Love all of your books. Love everything you create. Can't wait to read this one. This will probably be, I have another book we'll talk about, and then this will be next because I just love this woman. So the next thing we're going to get into in the series is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. This book is all over Book Talk. This whole series is all over Book Talk. As we can see, I've kind of already started it. And I was like, you know what? I need to get into another realm of the book world. So most books that I read are romance novels that are pretty traditional. And then when it comes to fantasy, I generally read YA fantasy. The best fantasy books I have found are YA fantasy. So to hear that this author was putting together 2 different genres that I really love, like I love me a romance novel, love them, especially some with some good, a little with the spice. We love spice over here. We love it. Spice, we love her. And so to add in fantasy to that, I was really excited to read. And so I am currently 167 pages in, chapter 19, and I know there are several more books in this series, so I'm excited to get through this one just to start something new, start something different, give myself a new perspective on books versus just my traditional books that I've been reading, and get into that. So we're excited. This will be the next book that we finish. My favorite. So if Simone St. James is one of my favorite authors, Lauren Asher is my other one. Oh, we have to remove the sticker. Don't we all hate, or at least I know I hate, these stickers. Thankfully they're removable, but I always get slightly nervous that it's gonna rip the cover, and then what? But so I just love me some Lauren Asher. Me and her, Lauren Asher, heart. Wild thing, I tagged when this book came out. So the book came out on the 7th, and I immediately took time, left because I worked from home, left home, went to Barnes & Noble to go get the book, posted on my Instagram story, and Lauren Asher responded to me. She responded. She complimented my nails. They were different nails than these, but she complimented my nails. And so that made my day, week, life, all the things, all of them. So I've read every single Lauren Asher book up until this point. So she is, you can see them up here in order. Lauren Asher is the creator of the F1 romance series, obviously not F1, but the F1 romance series, and Dreamland Billionaires, which got me into her books, specifically Terms and Conditions. Declan and Iris have my whole heart and being. Love them. Love all of her books. So I basically read all of her books in the last year. Really got into it because Book Talk got me into Terms and Conditions, specifically for the type of couple that they were, and I just dove head deep into them, read all of her books. I usually read her books in a day to 2 days. And so her next series is Lakefront Billionaires, Love Redesign. It's about Julian and Dahlia, I believe that's how you pronounce her name. And so Lakefront, we got introduced to Lakefront, Lake Wisteria in the last book of Dreamland Billionaires with Cal and Alana. I'm pretty sure that's her name. So they were at Lake Wisteria, and so now we're getting fully deep into the world of Lake Wisteria, which I am so excited for. And honestly, also I noticed Sarah J. Maas has these. Don't we just love when a book has a map? A map? A map. I'm always pulling back to see, okay, where where are we? Where's this happening? Where are we at? How far along are we? Like, so exciting. So love these. So I'm excited to get into this one. And this is the Barnes & Noble exclusive. This is one of those books. Lauren did this. She does this stuff. She gives us these great epilogues, which don't fully end the story. It might end a certain part of this couple's story, because there are supposed to be 2 more books in this series. But I love her epilogues. And so in the Barnes & Noble exclusive, we get an extended epilogue from this couple. But in the Target edition, we get an extended epilogue from, I believe, one of our Dreamland Billionaire couples, which makes me want to go buy their book just for that one, because I do love an extended epilogue, and especially Dreamland Billionaires. Give me anything that has to do with Declan and Iris, or even Cal, I'm gonna eat it up. I love everything about it. So I'm excited to read this one. I know I'm gonna read it so fast. I'm kind of gonna avoid reading this one just because this book just came out and I'm gonna have to wait forever how long until the next one comes out. So we love her. We love redesign, and Lauren Asher, she's the best. And then the next, we're getting more into a little bit more spice, is the 3rd book in the Salacious Players Club, called Give Me More. So I originally got this book because one of my really good friends, one of my best friends, gave me the first book in the series that she got at a book festival, when she was on a work trip, and she went up to them and told them kind of some of the books that I read, and they suggested this book. And when I read the first book, I was like, what do people think about me to suggest that I read this book series? But then I think about some of the books I've read in the last year specifically, and it makes sense. So the first book in the series is called Praise, and then the other book is called Eyes on Me. So each book is centered around a different founder in the Salacious Players Club, and each of their kinks. That's the best way. Their kinks. So we read about their kinks and their love story. And it's one of those series where, also the same as like Lakefront Billionaires and books of that sort, where they are standalones in a series. So a lot of romance authors do that, where they write standalones in a series. So versus, let's say, the Sarah J. Maas series, where it's a continuous series. That one is continuous through each book. So you can continue the plot on. Most romance authors are writing standalones, so you can read one book, and you can read that one book and not have to read the other books, but it does help to read the other books in the series and to get other like history and kind of a better idea of how those characters have developed and things that they have said, to understand how they got to this point. So this one is the 3rd one of the series. I believe there's one more for the other founder, and it's really cool to read. They're very spicy books. So if you're looking for some spice and like specific types of spice, you can get into these. So a lot of times the cover and the title give away what the book is about. So obviously, Praise, Eyes on Me, Give Me More. They give hints as to what you're reading about and the kinks that you're going to be reading about. These are books that I read at home. I tend to not read books out in public because I also don't really go outside that much. But books like this, especially, where it's very clearly like a spicy romance book, not reading this out in public. We're not doing that. We're reading this at home only. This is also a book if you have a Kindle, which your girl really wants. I want me a cute Kindle so you can put the stickers, do the whole thing, the pop socket. As we can see, Book Talk has gotten me fully and thoroughly, has made me want to be a full Kindle girl on top of it. This would be a book, if you want to read in public, you would read on the Kindle or an audiobook. But yeah, I want a Kindle really bad. I want the whole like ecosystem of books, but at my heart, I will always be a physical book girl. As we can see, the library is being built. If I took nothing away from Beauty and the Beast as a child, was we want a library. So that is what we are building. And then the last book that I got, which I actually just finished, because I couldn't wait, because I have been waiting to read this series. So at the beginning of the year, I picked up a couple different series. I picked up Dreamland Billionaires, the Twisted series by Anna Huang, and then I picked up Brutal Birthright by Sophie Lark. And I told myself that I would read one series at a time before I would really delve into the next ones. And so specifically because when I picked up Dreamland Billionaires, the last book was coming out. So I was like, let me finish that one and then go into that one. And then the Twisted series was done. Like, each series was basically done by the time I picked it up. So it's like, okay, let me read each one at a time, give each its own perspective chance and time to read, and then I will get into the next one. So those are the ones that I started out with this year. And so I finished Dreamland Billionaires. I am almost finished with the Twisted series. I think I'm gonna have to finish it as an audiobook just because I can't. The last book is a little rough for me to get through. Book Talk really sold me on them, and then I'm trying to read it, and I'm trying really hard, but we're working on it. We are working on it. We're gonna listen to it as an audiobook to see if that helps. But now that we are back to Brutal Birthright, we have read Stolen Heir. One of the great things about Sophie Lark is her books are not long. So this is a considerably long book. I mean, it's a pretty standardly long book. It's pretty standard. But one thing that I have noticed is the words are bigger, and like, that's not like really, shouldn't really be a thing, but it is a thing. And so it makes it different in the pace of the book. And with each chapter, with her, something is happening. So you are not just sitting here reading one chapter where you're like, okay, what does that even mean? Or something is happening every single chapter of the book. You're switching POV. So with, specifically, I've only read, the first book in the series is, where is it at? Brutal Prince, somewhere on there. The Brutal Prince, you alternate between POVs between the people that are in it. So this one is about Nessa and Miko. And so one chapter you're reading from Nessa's perspective, the next you're reading from Miko's perspective. So you really get to switch off how you're viewing the story, but it's not retelling what just happened. It's just moving along in the story, switching point of views. So this one was really great. And one thing about Miss Sophie Lark is, specifically in this series, which I love, is I'm trying to find one that's not too spicy, is there are illustrations. So you get actual illustrations in the book, which is game changing. You're like, when am I getting the next illustration? And then you see it. And then one thing that I really liked about this book, oh, I didn't realize the cover. That has to do with the book. You have to read the book to understand that, but you'll get into that. So it really helps the flow of it. And then also, specifically with this book, I don't remember if she did with Brutal Prince, but she'll put a song at a certain point in the chapter, either at the beginning, the middle, and she will tell you to play the song. So you can play the song in the background as you're reading that chapter, and it fits perfectly with what is going on. So love that. Love this book. Definitely will be getting the third one, which is Savage Lover. And so one of the series, there's 6 books in this series, and they're about the Gallo and Griffin family. And so the first one was about Callum and Ada. Love them. Then this one's about Miko and Nessa. The next one is Nero and Camille. Then Dante and Simone. Raylan and Riona. And then Sebastian and Yelena. So love that. Love these. And so I can't wait to get the next one. But I clearly have a lot of books to read before I can get to this next one. So I'm holding off on buying that. Okay. So that is everything that I have picked up from Barnes & Noble in the last 2 months, and basically my fall/winter TBR list. I would love to get most of these read by the end of this year, but it is Q4. It is a busy time in the marketing and social media world. So my goal is to get at least through 5 of these. I feel like I can do 5 of them. It is a very busy time with all of the holiday things, Friendsgivings, Christmas, activities, all of the things, but that is my hope, is to get through everything. And I am excited to be back on YouTube. I'm excited to be back talking to you guys and just getting back into this world. I have been loving reading and loving talking about the books that I'm reading and the authors that I've been loving. And so thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe and also comment below what author you found or what book you found this year that made you get back into reading. And so let's talk in the comments, and I can't wait for you to be back for the next one, and I'm excited for everything. how many times can I say and? And said comment below how many times I say and in the last minute. So I'm excited and I can't wait to see you back in my channel. Bye!